the coronavirus outbreak.
Experience the extraordinary.
Tremendous waste and tremendous fraud. Mexico is, in fact, you will soon find out.
It is a day to celebrate.
We don't approve at all what's going on.
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily unusual.
Challenge your ordinary.
Not only the government, the municipality here has had no plan.
Experience the extraordinary with StarSat.
Violence and sexual abuse against children has become a major social challenge during the COVID-19 lockdown. We appeal to adults, parents and caregivers to be kind towards children during this lockdown and beyond. Give children the space they need to engage with their reading and learning activities. Do not hit them. Do not yell at them. They are equally frustrated. We urge you to listen, support and help the children to survive the COVID-19 lockdown. Report immediately any incident of sexual abuse. The Department of Basic Education. Every child is a national asset.
Mukhaitsu, welcome back. You are still with us right here on the Pan-African Morning News on Galaxy Universal Network, Channel 500 on StarSat. Now, as we continue with our stories this morning, born in the dusty streets of Everton during Azikwela to late Stephen and Evelyn Kaule rose amongst the three boys. A health activist at a young age and a community builder, and loved caring after the vulnerable, spirituality very rich. Now studied locally and abroad and acquired extensive body of knowledge that helped her transform health services into the district's HS in his country at local government level. Now we are joined right now on Skype by Dr. Mapula Phiri Kaule, who is a retired former executive director of health services and corporate services for Sedibeng. Ma'am Mapula Kaule, welcome to the Pan-African Morning Show. How are you this morning?
No, good morning to all the viewers, and thank you for having me. I'm humbled by being with you and be able to talk to the people of South Africa.
Wonderful. You're not only talking to the people of South Africa, but you are talking to the entire continent, because right here,
All right, the global
yes, you are global this morning.
Thank you very much.
So, okay. Mapula, this week we are actually, remembering and celebrating Breastfeeding Week, in this month of Women's Month. We just want to know, from your side, what is would you encourage women to breastfeed? But then now that we're also facing, this coronavirus, we have mothers that are probably infected and, are breastfeeding. What is your view on that one?
I strongly believe that breastfeeding is the best way and the safest way of feeding any child, irrespective of the circumstances. Firstly, you do not worry about transmission of any germs to anybody, even the baby. The baby gets. I got a lot of HIV positive mothers who've got kids, and they're growing and they are very well nurtured. They are on breastfeed. People have said 6 months only breastfeeding. Those children want to breastfeed forever. And I've got an example of one who is already 15 months and growing very, very well. But with the coronavirus, not much research has been done with what happens when the mother is breastfeeding. We're dealing with an evil that we do not understand at the moment. But I would still encourage mothers to continue breastfeeding their children, because that milk comes out of a body that is warm, unless the mother is totally immunocompromised. The child can still breastfeed. If you cannot, and you can expel and you can warm it, breast milk will always have the best in nutrients that any child needs.
Before we actually went online, Doc, you spoke about a large number of health workers that are also, succumbing to COVID-19, and you said you cannot sleep at night as a doctor to actually have to wake up every day to this type of reality. Can you take us through that, please?
Yeah, as a person who actually transform health services and ensure that nurses get primary health care trained, and as a critical care nurse, because I'm qualified also as a critical care nurse, it's pain to me to have lost so many of my colleagues. I've lost colleagues, even just yesterday, there's one that I did anesthesiology with, whilst I was doing ICU at Bar. She passed on. And I'm talking about Ms. Fakuze, who actually was able to resuscitate so many patients a week ago. But when she got the COVID, because of the restrictions that are there, she could not be resuscitated. It's pain to me to have lost a person like that, who was so much dedicated. And the many other nurses and doctors, the list is endless. I wake up in the morning, I wake up in the night and pray and say, God Almighty, help us. Because all our knowledge, body of knowledge and whatever we have, has actually not helped us thus far. You understand? It's sad to see what is going to happen when we reach the peak. We already thought we had reached the peak. But in Joburg, as the epicenter, it's getting even worse.
Yeah.
But what I like is the behavioral changes. The people are beginning to put on masks. I've been moving around and worried about people not putting masks in the townships, children playing the streets and not caring at all. I even thought maybe this is only in the suburbs, this coronavirus. But I realized that people are beginning to realize the importance of social distancing, which we do not have in the taxis.
Yes.
That bothers me to the core.
Yeah.
People still traveling taxis, packed in as sardines 100%, and we expect that we'll control this virus. It is impossible. All I'm saying is that whatever we are doing, it's in the mercy, by the mercy of God.
You are, of course, at the forefront of this. You are seeing the reality in it. And, of course, you have painted quite a very vivid picture so far about, the reality that COVID-19 is bringing to our people. What will be probably your advice to a lot of people that say that, Doc, I don't have a choice. I have to go out. I have to be, involved in a variety of things. And also there are still people that do not really believe in the existence of COVID-19.
Yeah, our people are a little bit stubborn, those who think that they know they can cure themselves with mhlonyane, which has got side effects. They eat the garlics and everything, which also, if you take in large doses, research is beginning to show that it does have side effects. But my advice to everybody is that if you are not feeling well and you feel that you are immunocompromised, stay home, work from home. Unfortunately, a lot of doctors will go in irrespective and nurses. I had an argument with one of my colleagues to say that PPEs can be there, but if your body immune cell is sort of, you are immunocompromised, you'll not be able to cope up. In ICU, you've got to have people who are on ventilators. Unfortunately, the regulations are saying that you cannot intubate anybody who's now positive. And I was excited about the new masks that they're bringing in, which are not going to be put into anybody's throat. And I thought those would help. But unfortunately, health workers we will always go to work and work irrespective. And that is wrong. I'm saying if you are immunocompromised, stay home, others will take over. It's about time that the department realizes that people cannot continue working when they are not working.
Yeah.
And like examples where I saw that somebody stayed home somewhere in the Western Cape, and the person was forced to come to work. We hear people who say that you must come to work irrespective because you got a salary. I fought strongly against that, and even for the teachers who go to school not feeling well. It was said that comorbidities must stay home. Why are they still going to work? Why can't they work from home? Because if you are immunocompromised and you are contagious, you are going to infect other people.
Yes.
But we are caught up in a catch-22 situation.
Yes.
You we are at a stage where I feel that the government, especially the corruption that goes on, we can talk about it, but it will not solve the problem. The dedication of people to start nursing their people at home if they can. I can give you an example. I've been nursing my husband for the past 3 months at home. Now I'm going into my 6th month. If I left my husband in the hospital, I think I could have lost him by now. But he's walking around now. Because it's not only medication that will make a person. People want to be having their loved ones around them.
Yes.
And giving them the love and the support that they need.
Yes.
We are at a point where, as mothers of the nation, we should take the lead and say enough of what's happening with the corruption and put it and not concentrate on it, but say that we want to deal with this virus our own way. If alternative medicine is going to be effective, like ensuring that people eat oranges at home, drink a lot of water, and we don't talk tablets only because we know the toxicity of tablets.
Yes.
And I can tell you, I experienced this with my husband. He was on medication for diabetes and hypertension.
Yeah.
The toxicity level almost threw him into the coffee. And once I stopped that, and I said, you're now going to drink what I'm giving you in terms of boiling and eating correctly, portions for diabetic patients, and not eating bulk food and what it do. But also ensuring that you are surrounded by love. The kids are here all the time. One is next to me. The grandchildren is here. One wants to now say, I want to talk to you now. And I keep on pushing. You see, pushing on the side here. It's my grandson who came all the way from Pretoria, and he's trying to encourage grandpa to wake up and feel that I got the reason to live.
Yeah.
Dr. Mapule,
at the hospital, they must increase the number of people who are working.
Yes.
People are working overworked. They go to the extent of saying that I would rather die. It's a calling, I know, but a calling that will throw you in the box if you do not look after yourself.
Well, Mama, you also mentioned, that what hurt you was seeing a whole lot of number of, frontliners and doctors losing their lives due to COVID-19. And this happens mainly because, they're probably getting infected in hospitals. What measures do you think can be taken to actually lessen our frontliners, our health workers to be infected with COVID-19, and where do you think maybe the problem is? Is it maybe because they are not wearing protective gears, or what is the reason that we are losing so many health workers due to COVID-19?
The whole COVID-19 infection is very tricky. In other hospitals, you look at well-staffed hospitals in Cape Town, where you find everybody wearing their protective gear, everybody having somebody to relieve them, and they're not overweight. I thought by now they would actually have had more people dying, but the curve has just suddenly come down. I've been looking at that. Now, if ever there is lessons learned in Cape Town that is actually controlling the viral spread, let it be replicated in other places. You understand? And let's see if ever that can help.
Yeah.
I'm still asking myself what it is that the government can do. Rather than having one nurse looking after 8 patients, let it be one nurse looking after 2 patients and see. We must try different things. And the units themselves are not sanitized after somebody has passed on. I can tell you. That is the serious problem. In ICU, you used to take these ventilators. Immediately after somebody has passed on, you take the ventilator, you go and sanitize it, and you get new tubes. It's not happening. I don't think it's happening. The pressure is so much that they end up having to use whatever was there just to wipe it. You've got 24 hours to sanitize those things and be sure that the place also is sanitized. Are we doing it? No, it's not being done. So now, the PPEs that were thrown in the river
Yes.
maybe could have gone to a place where they could have actually have saved life.
Yeah.
Corruption also is actually eating up into this. I've
Yes.
seen nurses at clinics attending to patients wearing only aprons. And that shocks me. Because if you've got just a mask and you are dealing with a COVID-19 patient, by the time you've got contact with that person, you are a carrier.
Of course.
You come home into your family, you are infecting your family. You go out tomorrow in the morning, you meet somebody in the street, you continue.
Yes.
So the only thing is that once the staffing component, it's a serious one.
Yes.
I still say that we need to have more staff, more front health workers, more general workers. At
Yes.
the end of the day, they also, when being tested, because you can't put a guard to test me when I come to work. Because you are so short-staffed that you take anybody that you train and say they can take temperatures. Look
Yeah.
at schools now. What happens at school? The children come in, they're being tested. Who's actually testing these children? It's ordinary people. It's not even health workers.
It is quite
And we
very...
end up saying that we can contain. We can contain it with behavioral changes. But on the transport side, are we doing the right thing?
Yeah.
Oh, we know. You know.
You know, Doc, it's a very, as you mentioned earlier, that we find ourselves in a catch-22 situation because you find people like yourself that are on the front line, that you are seeing the reality of COVID-19 and say people are dying, health workers are dying, people that are supposed to be helping and resolve the problem are the ones that are perishing before your eyes. However, you've got public pressure where they are saying people must be full in the taxes, they are saying businesses must open, and so on and so on. How do we deal with these two situations? Because you are saying that we must bring more doctors and more nurses to hospital to come and assist and make sure that the outside it is controlled, meaning that people must not be full on taxes. We must not have a full load of taxes. We must make sure that we eliminate public interaction as much as we can. But right now we have got businesses and political parties fighting and saying, no, we must open business. We must go back into work. We must, what must we do?
Yeah, you see the pressure. If I was the president of the country, if I was CR, I would not have listened or opened up to people saying that the economy was in a mess already. Okay, if we found that closing up the lockdown period and ensuring that things do not happen the way they were happening previously, we would not be having taxis going up and down and people going up and down.
Yes.
They closed on cigarettes, they closed on liquor. I'm glad about it, and I think it can be perpetuated until level 1. I know I'll be unpopular with a lot of people because they're making their life out of selling liquor. They're making life out of selling cigarettes. But at the moment, we've got clear proof that the more people are not social distancing, the more contagious, the more they are going to infect each other.
Yes.
And I'm appealing to our people. Let's help our government. Let's help our government to ensure that we get the results that we want by not agreeing or putting pressure on this poor government. I pray for the president every day. I pray for the ministers every day.
Yes.
And the reason for praying is that maybe there will be a supernatural power that will come in and convince people that with doing things different, eating right, and maintaining social distancing as well, wearing our masks, it will help a lot. I'm in the house. Sometimes people laugh. I go out of my house, I put a mask on, I put my gloves on. Because I'm going to touch surfaces that might actually have had this contamination of the organism.
Yes.
But this organism, until such time that it's finished its phase, we are mitigating against all risks and ensuring that things happen. Life will continue. People must not lose hope, but they must realize that they've got to take their part and become responsible citizens of this country. We can have Dr. Zweli Mkhize saying this, let's do this. There are people who are actually cashing on this thing and set. Cashing in on this COVID has actually made it even worse. Because if nurses who started not having PPEs and doctors working throughout the night and being immunocompromised are now dying, they're dying. Some are just falling. A person went, for instance, we had nurses who went to work on a Sunday, and the nurse fled. She was an ICU nurse. And you know what? I cannot understand why our people are stubborn. We have opened up the economy. It's okay, people need to work, but let's try to do the right thing. When we say stay and not go to the shops every day of your life, and not run around and not move in groups and all that, let's just respect that.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Mapule,
people do not want to respect simple things that say do the right thing.
Yes.
Social distancing, mask, washing of hands, sanitizing. You know, you can sanitize with soap and water. You don't have to go and get
and buy an expensive sanitizer.
You can gargle with salt and water in the morning. And if you feel that I'm having a temperature, you stay home. Don't go anywhere.
Well, I just want to understand, Dr. Mapule, especially, from the medical point of view, talking now about these masks that we are wearing, because apparently, there's also a report that it is not healthy to keep wearing your mask since, when you breathe in and out oxygen, you're breathing in the same very, oxygen that you breathe out and in and out. So I just want to understand, with your medical view, are the masks safe to always keep wearing, especially when we're breathing in and out?
I had a very long argument with one of my nieces to say that she becomes hypoxic when he's wearing a mask. And I said, when you become hypoxic, it's because you're closing your mouth and your nose at the same time. You allow the other one at one stage or another. You're closing the mouth, but also allow yourself to breathe the air, natural air, in between. But for those people who are working in the hospital, they do not even have the chance. I mean, this whole thing is airborne. And if it's airborne, how are we going to prevent it not coming in? It's only your body reaction once the virus in your body that you can talk about it. If you become hypoxic, you feel that you are actually breathing carbon dioxide there. It's impossible. It's a myth. There are a lot of myths around this that I get hypoxic. Unless you are immunocompromised already in the lungs that you cannot close your mouth. Children, I've got a 4-year-old grandson and granddaughter. They run around with the masks. They don't. Why don't they fall? You understand? The whole thing is about only the perceptions that are there and the myths that are there. And if you tell your body or your mind to say that I am going to collapse from breathing this oxygen, remember, you need carbon dioxide to breathe.
Yes.
Isn't it? Now, if you do not have carbon dioxide, you'll not be able to breathe. That little amount that you are having is going to help you to breathe.
Yes.
But the bottom line is that people must wear those masks. Those masks don't come to the, you see others putting them here, others putting them, you pick up the dirt on your head, you put it on the nose, you put the dirt on the side of your neck here, you put it back on the, it's not about the mask, it's about the movement that we create with the masks.
Yeah. Doc,
and this is where the infection,
yes.
This is where the infection comes.
Yeah. There is this issue that I've got to learn of from some of the people that, one of their relatives passed on COVID-19, and they were now forced to, of course, cremate the body and not even take the ashes at home. And I want to know as to, and of course they are saying that a person who's COVID-19 positive cannot, the body cannot be washed, which that I understand, but do you believe that even the ashes of the person who passed on COVID-19 are still dangerous?
Ma'am, not much research has been done with regard to that. They are put underneath the ground. And underneath the ground, that's where absolutely everything happens. We get, all this infection. They say it will last for 6 months. If it will last for 6 months, why then do you put them inside? because I was saying that the sea cleanses itself. Why don't they throw it in the sea?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, why don't they throw it in the sea? Because if you go down, that's where all this, the soil levels and everything, different levels of soil underneath there, then we're getting our water supplies with the tubes and everything. And you know what? This is a very, very complicated thing. We can argue it out.
Yes.
Not much research has been done. But with regard to the burying, the way they're burying them, I've accepted the fact that we will not even have burial sites. At the amount of, at the rate at which we are having people dying, we might end up not even having burial sites. So cremation might actually be the next option. But then that soil, whatever ashes that come out of it, I must say that I still don't like cremation, but I've had relatives who got cremated. It makes me realize that, once you've cremated the person, the ash you can take and just go and throw it in the sea. The sea cleanses itself. We believe that.
Yeah, but I mean, if we're talking of COVID-19 and they're saying that it's something that could obviously fade off or die in maybe from 45 degrees Celsius and it wouldn't survive for longer in there. Now, when you are put onto, the cremation, it's not even, it's over 100 degrees of the heat that literally just melts the bones. So why is it will COVID-19 not really die? Not that I'm disputing any of the medical researches that are being done, but I think I strongly believe as a journalist that there are still some other information that we are not being given, or the information that is not being made public for COVID-19. Would you agree with me?
No, I'll definitely agree with you. If, my argument was exactly that. Put it under heat, you destroy it.
Exactly.
It will not go and replicate. It will not go and multiply. Why do we then get worried about the ash? Because the ash can just be thrown anywhere. It can even be thrown outside in the flat, if that be the case. Because I think that virus is dead by then. It will not come out once people are cremated. But unfortunately, like I'm saying, our cultural beliefs do not agree with that. They say you cannot desecrate a body, you do not respect the body by burning it. Other families have lost their loved ones, and it was just purely psychological because somebody got cremated, and the whole family got finished because of the cremation.
Well, in closing, Dr. Mapule, I just want us, I was just hoping that maybe you can give, any message. What message can you give to our women since we are in celebration of Women's Month from a doctor?
Yeah, all I can say is that hope. We hope should spring eternal in our human breast as women and as a nation and as the global village. We are praying and we're using prayer as our only source of hope. We pray at all times and we hope God will intercede and make this virus not to be so insurmountable in dealing with it. Because at the moment, I think medicine at one stage fails. Everything fails, Mighty. And all we need is to appeal to the supernatural powers. If those people who follow their ancestors, if the ancestral powers are okay, then let it be. But I can tell you we are going to beat this virus. If people did go through pandemics, and it was like the Swiss, the SARS people, at one stage SARS was a common one before the 2019 2020 COVID. We will beat it. We will beat it. Yes, there will be casualties that are painful, health workers, families that are children who are going to be orphaned, and there's going to be so much cruelty. Some bodies that cannot even be buried, corpus burials given to everybody, or just cities just getting destroyed, like we are saying, because of the infants. But I'm saying let's keep on hoping, because that's the only thing that we've got, hope.
Dr. Mapula, thank you so much for joining us right here and of course giving us hope. Thank you so much. Mukhai, so let us take a very short break. When we come back, we're coming back with more news and update. Stay tuned.
Thank you very much to both of you. I've been following you on Facebook and I'll continue following you. both of you, Palisa and
Sisanda.
as well as Mekora. I love you very much.
The day will come when these measures are no longer needed. Until then, however, we must ensure that all our people receive adequate support. We look ahead to a better future. I have faith in the strength and the resilience of ordinary South Africans who have proven time and time again throughout our history that they can rise to any challenge that is presented to our country. We shall recover. We shall overcome.
God is so amazing.
Feel the heat.
The Bible says that through his death on the cross, we are now reconciled with our Father.
Forgive and you shall be forgiven.
So wherever God takes us, we're just excited about it.
As a child of God, where you are, you must have an hour of prayer.
Feel the excitement.
In the name of Jesus, in the name of Jesus.
I believe that God is working right now.
Feel the heat with StarSat.
Tech Talk brought to you by Tamani Technologies and Systems. Tamani Technologies and Systems takes leadership in fourth industrial revolution. The whole world is facing a transformation. The revolution will be developed into the following stages: digitization, cyber security, Internet of Things, managed services, document management, and business applications. We provide business transformation and ICT solutions with presence in 13 African countries and 2 European countries. We are your leading partner in integrated platform providers, innovation leaders, standalone products, and innovation pace setters. Tamani Technologies and Systems, delivering value across continents.
Walila umntwana alilela umamake wamthatha wambeka esifubeni sakhe wathi thula sana lwam wathi thula sana lwam. Hello, Dumelang, Sanbonani, Absheng. My name is Mariki Bothma, Ntomza Mazulu, Zindli Ntomza se KZN, all the way from KZN, but currently here in Midrand, Joburg, at Galaxy Universal Network, StarSat Channel 500, and on our Facebook page, Galaxy Universal Network. Welcome to a brand new show called Scars. We all have a history. You may be the victim, yet you are alive. You are the survivor. You are the overcomer. You are the conqueror of your past and of your pains. The show is all about you sharing your stories, you sharing your life experiences. We're going to show people out there whether you've been abused mentally, physically, emotionally. We have all been affected by abuse. The show will consist of from bullet survivors to cancer survivors to people living with disabilities to ex-convicts. No story will be too big or too small to be shared on this platform. Do join us every Saturday, 11 to 12, right here on Galaxy Universal Network. But we also do have a few surprises for you in store. Every Saturday, 11 to 12, Galaxy Universal Network. Walala wasala. See you there.
the coronavirus outbreak.
Experience the extraordinary.
Tremendous waste and tremendous fraud. Mexico is, in fact, you will soon find out.
It is a day to celebrate.
We don't approve at all what's going on.
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily unusual.
Challenge your ordinary.
Not only the government, the municipality here has had no plan.
Experience the extraordinary with StarSat.
Mukhaitsu, welcome back. If you've just joined us, you are watching us all the way from South Africa, broadcasting to you live in Johannesburg. Kalibitso ke Palesa Muchuminyane, and of course I am with my co-host Sisanda, Mrs. Kuto.
Hello.
Yeah, this is still the Pan-African Morning News right here on Galaxy Universal Network. And as we continue with our stories this morning. Now, robbers raided a house on an estate near the Olifantsfontein, east of Pretoria. A man and his wife and a daughter were shot during the attack. The man was allegedly shot in the head and the woman in a chest. And according to the source, the woman was still alive when emergency services arrived on the scene. She apparently died a few minutes later. The man was already dead. And COVID-19 claims toddlers' lives. The Provincial Health Department in KwaZulu-Natal reported that a 3-month-old baby girl and a 4-year-old boy are amongst the latest COVID-19 deaths to be reported out on Tuesday. Now, no further details were available on the death of 2 children or the surroundings or the reason for the circumstances. And yeah, that's very sad, Sisanda, you know, to know that now COVID-19 is attacking our children. You know what I mean? Our babies are now dying because they were infected with COVID-19. Hence, you know, earlier on, you know, when COVID-19 actually started, I was concerned about the lives of our children going back to school. You know, so it is actually very sad that now that we're hearing that 2 more babies were infected with COVID-19 and they lost their lives. That is what we are actually having to deal with.
It's quite very unfortunate, I mean, to hear that so young children have died of COVID-19, because it's been something that people were actually saying that you shouldn't mind children, it's not so deadly to them. So it means that it could actually happen to anybody. You don't have to be in a specific manner or age or whatever. COVID-19 can kill. I mean, even people that were literally just normal, people that have never had any you know, known immune compromise situations in their lives, and they all know that they were healthy, and then unfortunately they are found to have died of COVID-19. So we must emphasize that keep your children safe, keep them away from you know, the public if you can, and if you cannot, make sure that you apply maximum protection for them. Make sure that they put on a mask, they put on, because they keep on removing the mask, you know. So if you can't then put the mask on and then put something else on top of the mask, just to make sure that you know, your children are safe, because it could be deadly.
And earlier on, as we are talking to, you know, Dr. Mapula, Mapula is also encouraging us as a doctor to keep wearing a mask and, you know, keep on social distancing. And Dr. Mapula is also saying that, you know, if you cannot afford a sanitizer, it is simple. You can just, you know, in your home, you know, take soap and wash your hands every 20 minutes. So nobody should come back and say that they cannot afford sanitizers, because at the end of the day, at least with soap as well, you can still try, you know, and save yourself, you know, from catching COVID-19. But otherwise, Mukhaitsu, let us continue with our stories this morning. Now, more than 1,400 staff members at Pick n Pay have taken voluntary severance packages since March. The retailer has said that in a trading update. The Cape Town-based group's voluntary severance program, the VSP, offers staff 1.5 weeks of pay per completed year of service, now plus 4 weeks of notice pay. And according to the group, its objective is to reduce employee cost. The group said that the cost of the compensation payments to departing employees will be borne in the first half of the current financial year. And Pick n Pay says it expects the program to be cost neutral for the full financial year, as compensations packages will be fully recouped through the cost savings. The group is projecting that its headline earnings per share of the 26 weeks to end August of 2020 will be down by more than 50% as it grapples with the effects of COVID-19 on its businesses. So Pick n Pay right there, is compensating, their employees, with their salaries. So it's actually, I think a good thing, just rather by rather letting, their employees go and say, there's no job, but at least, those that are actually leaving, or rather those that they are letting go can be compensated. So it's actually a good story there.
Even though, you could possibly be in a position to, if on a better scenario, is to save jobs, of course, and make sure that people continue to have employment. Because if they get this money, it's not much, of course. If they get this money, after a couple of months, the money will be finished and we'll be back to poverty again. So I think it will be rather better to save jobs and in the long run and make sure that people have got continued income coming into their households. And unfortunately, at this time, they have to, give them packages to stay home, and they have to accept what is there. It's better than nothing, but it could be better.
It could be better. But otherwise, let us continue with our stories this morning. Now, in 2019, South Africa exported 3.7 million kilograms of cigarettes to Namibia. And in the first 5 months of 2020, that figure stood at 1.2 million kilograms, now putting it on a track for a slower year. But in May, cigarettes exports suddenly exploded when South Africa exported about 733 million rands of kilograms of cigarettes to Namibia, which could make 8.8 million kilograms if that were kept up for a year. But Namibian says that it's a struggle to get cigarettes. Now,
so it's about 780,000 kilograms instead of 8 million, which is it's a big loss. And I think at this time, of course, as we mentioned before, that the sale of illicit cigarettes is booming at this current moment due to the banning of the sale of cigarettes. And then you can see that the countries, outside countries, especially our neighboring countries, they are doing a lot of work transporting cigarettes into the country. It's just insane.
Yeah, it's insane indeed. But otherwise, Mokhaitsu, let us go on a very short break. When we come back, we're bringing you more news and updates. And of course, we've got one of the best South African designers to celebrate Women's Month with us. And she is none other than Luffy D. So keep tuning in. And, when you want, advices on how to dress on this beautiful Women's Month, do stay tuned right here on the Pan-African Morning News. Stay tuned.
The day will come when these measures are no longer needed. Until then, however, we must ensure that all our people receive adequate support. We look ahead to a better future. I have faith in the strength and the resilience of ordinary South Africans who have proven time and time again throughout our history that they can rise to any challenge that is presented to our country. We shall recover. We shall overcome.
God is so amazing.
Feel the heat.
The Bible says that through his death on the cross, we are now reconciled with our Father.
Forgive and you shall be forgiven.
So wherever God takes us, we're just excited about it.
As a child of God, where you are, you must have an hour of prayer.
Feel the excitement.
In the name of Jesus! In the name of Jesus!
I believe that God is working right now.
Feel the heat with StarSat.
Tech Talk brought to you by Tamani Technologies and Systems. Tamani Technologies and Systems takes leadership in fourth industrial revolution. The whole world is facing a transformation. The revolution will be developed into the following stages: digitization, cyber security, Internet of Things, managed services, document management, and business applications. We provide business transformation and ICT solutions with presence in 13 African countries and 2 European countries. We are your leading partner in integrated platform providers, innovation leaders, standalone products, and innovation pace setters. Tamani Technologies and Systems, delivering value across continents.
Right, so welcome back. Now, if you've just joined us, we are on Pan-African Morning News, right on Galaxy Universal Network, right here on Channel 500 on StarSat. So don't forget to get your StarSat decoder. You can get it at Pick n Pay stores, you can get it at game stores, and of course at macro stores as well. Yep. You know what I mean? Yeah, we are. Yeah, if you want to follow us right here on the Pan-African Morning News, make sure you get that decoder. But otherwise, now we are still in celebration of Women's Month, and Mrs. Thandi Ngonelo, born in the Eastern Cape, both, married in Sharpeville and in Gauteng province, now based in KwaZulu-Natal, Cabo Sisanda. Now, she is a motivator, a motivational speaker, and a community builder. She has written 12 books, but this morning we're dealing with the first one called She Shall Be Called a Woman, and the second book, is called To Crush the Head of a Serpent. Now this morning we are joined, of course, by this beautiful mother, in Bogoto, Mam Thandi. Mam Thandi, welcome to the Pan-African Morning. We are excited to have you right here on our show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for welcoming me. I appreciate that.
Now, Mam Thandi, 12 books, that you have, it's actually awesome. We are definitely, looking forward, to say, what makes a woman stand out, as a respected, amongst many like you.
You see, the first thing that we have to look at as women, first understand the meaning of the word woman. W-O-M-A-N. It stands for you are a well-organized man. W for well, O for organized, and then man. You are a woman with a womb man. If you understand yourself that you are unique as a woman, you will make sure that you don't compare yourself with any other woman. You are you are yourself, you dress as yourself, you talk like yourself, you walk like yourself, you accept yourself as a unique woman. That will make you to be comfortable in your body and in yourself. And you will have that self-confidence that I am me and this is me. And you will present yourself like that all the time.
Oh, lovely. I really like what you just said, because right now in our studio, we've also invited, a fashion designer, and she is a woman. So when you talk about, dressing up and, you're taking care of yourself, that's what makes a woman. I'm very inspired. But what inspired you to write so many books, especially, the latest book that we just mentioned right here in studio? What was your inspiration?
My first book is She Shall Be Called Woman. What actually inspired me? Firstly, I looked at myself, I grew up during Bantu education times at school here. And we used to be beaten up if you make noise in class. I was very talkative, I must say that to you. But I noticed later that I was talking at the wrong time, though I had something to talk. So I saw that I was born a writer. That is what really inspired me, that I cannot be talking all my life and then I do not have a message for people out there.
Yeah.
So I sat down and I started writing She Shall Be Called Woman. Why She Shall Be Called Woman? It is because I looked at a woman and I saw a woman being this interesting species, a woman who is everything, a woman who is a woman for all seasons, a woman that you cannot actually put down. You can never put a good woman down.
Yeah.
Then I just that let me write a book to the woman and let me introduce a woman to a woman knowing that she is everything she can be. She can be everything that God has created to be. That is what inspired me to write my first book, and then all the 11 ones followed.
Now, being an author, of course, you are also, of course, falling also under the artist, because when you're writing, you're putting art into a book where the art of telling, the art of storytelling, which is quite very key on how you tell your stories. Do you believe that women are better storytellers than men?
Yeah. Yes, of course. It is said that we speak more words than little boys. Yes. So women are better storytellers, because when a woman tells a story, she goes all out. You leave no stone unturned. You know, when you are married, when you have gone somewhere as a married woman, and when your husband asks you, how was it? You start from A up
the
to
beginning,
Z.
yeah.
He goes, and when he comes back, you ask, dear, how was it? He says it was fine, and then it's finished. We don't do that as girls. We go all out.
Yeah. You know, why I was actually asking that question was, being able to write 12 books, and I'm sure you're still going. It also an evidence, the fact that, you know, you have got readers, you have got people that are interested in reading in your books, that what keeps inspiring you to continue writing more books. Now, what is the most biggest challenge that you're facing as a writer right now, to say we need to, maybe, are you challenged by the way in which young people in our days, they're not much interested in reading. They are many much into, you know, social media and like visuals. There's so much of visuals than writing. And also, what is the challenge of the fourth industrial revolution towards writing?
You know, that's a very good question. I have noticed that this generation does not really like to read because of all the reasons that you have mentioned. But we really have to make it a habit that we put reading inside of our children.
Yes.
Our children must never lose touch of reading. You know, when we grew up, we had grannies. We lived with grannies. They used to tell stories about us. And this is what I think old people are for. They have to tell their great-grandchildren or their great-grandchildren about things that they can only get from the old ones. So that is why we cannot afford to let our children not to be able to listen to us, not to be able to read stories. You know, sometimes I go to a funeral, and then at the end it will be said the young generation of that family, they must come and read maybe the
messages.
And the messages. Hey, if you can see our little ones, how difficult it is for them to read, especially if they have to read in the mother tongue. This worries me a lot. We cannot afford our children not to be able to read. I'm not against this new technology, but I am trying to say this new technology must not sweep away, must not make us to do away with the things that are inborn in us as Africans.
So, Mama, now tell me, right, your book, She Shall Be Called a Woman. I want to understand, you know, what is your view on rather women of today, and especially talking about, you know, these young women today who call themselves slay queens, and, you know, they don't go out there and they dress less, and, you know, with all their weaves and stuff. What is your view, you know, about our young women today?
You see, one thing we have to understand that as a people, we are a generational people. Life is about generations. That is why who I am, I have taken it from my mother. My mother took it from her mother. Her mother took it from her mother. We are a generational people. So we have to make sure that we are passing on the baton to the next generation, and we are passing on the correct things. If We do not, in my generation, pass on good things to the next generation. Down the line, there will be nothing good that is passed on. So we really have to make sure that we don't throw away the baby with the dirty water. There are good things that we learned from our mothers that we have to pass to our children. For instance, I train my children the way my mother trained me, because this is what made me to be the successful woman that I am today. We must not try to do things that are un-African, because these are the things that makes us at the end to be in jeopardy.
So, okay, maybe you want to ask the next question.
Yes. No, I needed to ask a question because we were made aware that in the past you have gone as far as staying with women, which were of course the prostitutes, if I could put it directly like that, and you were living with them, you were taking care of those people, and of course we understand that you were not aware initially that they were in that line of business, but later found out, but still you didn't neglect them. Why was it? What was driving you to want to be in a position to take care of people that are mostly rejected by the society?
You see, the way we're brought up was the best way. Because when you look at a person, you must see God in the person. Because all of us come from God. That is why we have to make sure that when we end, we must end in God. We came from Him and we must end in Him. So every person, every human being you see, he is made in the image of God. That is why there is no less person and there is no big person when it comes to our Creator. Now, what makes you to take care of people? It's the compassion that your parents put in you, that when you see a human being, you must know that this person is like you. So do into this person what you love to do unto you.
Yes.
Don't ill a person because you don't want it to be ill-treated. Don't disrespect another person because you too, you don't want it to be disrespected. So this is what makes us to be community builders. Look at what is happening now. Because of this COVID-19, most people are suffering. Most people are not having something to eat. Most people are losing their jobs. Does it mean I will be happy to sit with a whole loaf when my next door neighbor does not have anything to eat? Not so. I will rather do with a half a loaf and give the half a loaf to my neighbor. If now 4 of us don't have anything to eat, we better take a quarter of a loaf. The 4 of us will thrive on a loaf that first belongs to me. This is what life is all about, sharing and caring.
So, Mama, what inspires you, as in Mpokoto, a mother and an aunt and a motivational speaker?
What I do, I manage my time. In most cases, people ask me, how come you are able to do so many things and you are one person? I manage my time. The first thing that I do when I wake up, I first speak to God to get direction from God. Because this life that I am living, I got it from God, and I have to live it the way God wants me to live it. So I am able to do all these things. I'm able to sit on one-on-one counseling. I'm able to speak with a group of ladies. I'm able to do all types of counseling. Maybe whether it's marriage counseling, parental counseling, whatever counseling that is there. I am able to pray with somebody else. I'm able to help my neighbors. I am able to go down in my community and see what needs to be clean. I turn myself and I make myself to be flexible to become what I'm needed to be at the moment that I'm needed to be. If I need to teach, I teach. If I need to nurse, I nurse. If I need to take care, I take care. This is what makes my life true, and this is what makes me to wake up every morning and go out there to be a helper to other people.
Talking of being a helper to other people, while we're closing right now, we understand, of course, that the people that you stayed with that were previously known as the prostitute, they changed their lives through your influence. How far are they today? Have they completely, turned their lives around, or you're still working on it up to this day?
You see, may God help us not to be so high-minded, not to be always walking on high heels to such an extent we are unable to reach down there and pull up any person who needs help. In my life, I've worked with street kids. In my life, I've worked with ladies who are in desperate situations. When you find people like that, the first thing those people need is love and not judgment.
Yeah.
If you out in love, if you give them hope, if you sit down with them, if you make them understand that there is no difference between you and them, it's just that it's the situation that life has put hope inside of those people, reaching out with love and compassion, that people will give you an ear and they will listen to you.
Thank you so much.
It's already been won. Then the other issues will follow when you help them materially, when you help them spiritually, until you see the person standing out on his or her 2 feet.
Thank you so much for those very inspirational words and actually, encouraging words to say that we should not see ourselves as different from other people. And I think we need to take this not only on the people that we are referring to at that moment, but to anybody else. It could be in any situation. I'm sure you could agree with me on that one to say, let us not differentiate ourselves from those people, especially as women, because we are facing the same struggles. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, ma'am. Okay. Thank you. It was a really a great one in there, Palisa. I think having said that, we are going to take a very short break. When we're coming back, their designer is in the house, and she'll get to see if Senzezo Naini in this fashion, or we still have to do some touch-ups. Please do stay with us right here on Galaxy Universal Network.
Wali